Hello there and good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. It's always a pleasure having you with us. We look forward to seeing you every Thursday, actually. We look forward for you at 8 o'clock every Thursday for Mike at Night. If you are joining us for the first time, we are happy to have you all. So let me acknowledge those that we usually see around. Alice John, good evening. Yep. Lenora Francis Moses, nice having you. Wendy Ann Norton, good to have you here week after week. Joy, Charmaine, yes, Sharon, good to have you. Sharon Manswell. Kenneth Hodge, good to have you also. Nicely. Great, 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 great. I want you to share the live, people, because we're talking about a blended family, something that almost every family is part of now. Blended family. Right? Good evening to you, Carolyn. Nice having you. Thursday blessing to you, Kenneth. Right. Share the live, call somebody and tell them to log on. I want to make sure that we have you on so that you could get the best benefit of the program this evening. Yes, good evening, Candice. Good evening, Glenda. My lady friend Glenda, nice having you. Great, great. Yes. So we have a poll question that we're going to be asking you also. We hope that you'll be part of that as we go into it in just a while. All right. So as we said, it's blended family. I want you to put on it while we go to the break for the opening commercials. I want you to put on it is your definition of a blended family? What is your definition of a blended family? What do you understand by it? Let's get that and let's go pay some bills, and we'll be right back on Mike at Night. Hey, if you are having difficulty in your marriage or in your relationship and you need someone to speak with privately and confidentially, then call me, Michael Stewart. We can do face to face or virtually any part of the world. If your relationship is worth saving, call 868 688 5363 or go to my website www.michaeletstewart.com. Don't wait until it's too late. Get counseling. Okay, let me tell you, we have a session coming up. This one is for the singles. Single. Now, this is for the members of the Churches of Christ. So, the singles, we are going to have a discussion on Friday, which is the 11th, and we're going to be talking about putting some plans in place as to how we're going to now assist our singles, etc. So that if you are a member of the Church of Christ, that's where the target is. We had one already for everybody else. We have this one here for the members. If you are interested, 688, that is 868. It doesn't matter which part of the world you are, as long as you are part of the Church of Christ. 868-688-5363 is the number for that one. And then we have another one. Last week we had a wonderful topic, but we could not go into a topic that people wanted us to go into, that whole aspect of sex. So on the 24th, we will be going into that in detail on the 24th of this month. And boy, I tell you, it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful time. You must register though. You must contact me at 868-688-5363. This is for anybody who is over 18, married or not married, single or not single. We want you to be part of this. So just hit us up on 868. You can do it now, actually, while we are on. I hope it just doesn't beep us. Don't call me now, except you want to call to get live on the broadcast. Right? 868-688-5363. That's the number for any of the two programs that we have. One is on the 11th and one is on the 24th. All right? Nicely. All right. So let me go now. As I said, try to write for me your definition of a blended family. So Orville says a blended family is one where each person in the relationship has children prior to the present relationship. Well, you say prior. Orville, let me just update you. Some of these children are born during the current relationship and then brought in while an existing relationship is going on. Have you heard about that? Tell me you all if you all ever heard about that. Where you are in a relationship, you're in a marriage, a child is made on the outside, and the child becomes part of the relationship now because you bring the child to be mind or taken care of by your own spouse. This is a child that you would have had otherwise for somebody. And yes, it happens with the men where that happens. But let me tell you, it has some women who have made children for another man while they are married to him and he's minding the child. Some of them know it and some of them just don't know it. That's the fact. Good evening, Davika. Nice having you. Timothy, glad having you on. Wilma, yes, share the live, people. Let me see. Beatrice, Jalia Charles. Good. Wonderful, everybody. Yes. All right. So that was quite good, and I appreciate you sharing that, Orville, and sharing that information to us. Now, is there a difference between a stepchild and a half brother or sister, like a step sibling and a half sibling? This is my half brother. This is my step brother. Is there a difference? And if there's a difference, talk to me. Talk to me. Yep. You all come there. Is there a difference between a stepchild and a half? Yep. Talk to me. I'm looking at you all. Mm-hmm. Not seen anybody answering. Good evening, Deanne. Wonderful having you on. Deanne Robinson. Cheryl Perlikin. Good evening to you. All right. You see, though people don't have the answer. Or is it that the Facebook is delayed in giving the answer? I want to give you all a chance. Do you think there's a difference? And if you think there's a difference, what is the difference? So answer me, yes or no. Is there a difference between a half brother or sister and a step brother or sister? Ashlyn John said, yes, there's a difference. Nice. Now that we reached this far, let's see if we could find out what is the difference. Christine, good evening. Nice having you. You're late, but nice having you still. Share the live, people. Share the live. We are on. Is there a difference between a half brother and sister? And is there a difference between a step brother and sister? Come people, talk to me. Yes. All right. Lenora says, yes, I know of a man who cheated on his wife, got a child, and he became part of that family. The wife said that the child is innocent. There you go. So you see, that's why it is not somebody who has children already and another person who has children already, and they come together into one family and bring those two children. That is one blended. But you could have it blended where there is a child that is born while on the outside. All right. Genetics. All right. So Kenneth is saying genetics is the difference. I think I know where you're going with that, Kenneth, and I wouldn't doubt you. I think you're more or less right. So a half brother means that one of the parents is one that contributed the blood to the child, but not both parents. So that's your half brother, your half sister. So one of the parents, either the mother or the woman, the blood of that next child is inside, has the blood of that parent. Jabon is saying, yes, there's a difference. Half brother or sister, you have a parent in common. Exactly. And the step brother, different father and mother. Absolutely correct. As my father would say, correct is right. Good evening, Lisa, Sandra, Jack. Good evening to you. All right. Handel Beckel said, good night. A step sibling is a sibling by marriage. All right. And a half sibling is a child of one of the parents. All right. All right. Well, now that they don't even have marriage, that the fact that you're living together as man and woman, handle, gives you that common law type of relationship. So, but I understand what you mean. Ashlyn says because they will have one parent in common, whereby a stepbrother or sister has no relation or blood. All right, they have one parent in common, right, and that is the half. And a stepbrother is that there is no relations. All right, so now that we have it clear, this half brother, half sister, and this blended family, where you merge these families together, most modern day families are blended. Imagine that. So I wonder how many of you here are in blended families or came up out of blended families. Just signal to me. How many of you are from blended families? It's not something to be ashamed of. It's just the reality of life. How many of you are from blended families? I have been a product of blended family, actually. So I would be the first to raise my hand and say, yes, I came out from a blended family. Charmaine, okay. Charmaine has came out of a blended family. Handel, all right. Okay. Yes. Candice. Wow. Woo. Javika. Yes. So you see how many of us have come out of a blended family. So we're going to talk about what happens, what are some of the things that happen in some blended families. Nothing we say here is absolute to say that it has to take place or it did take place in your and everybody's situation. Beatrice is one. Sandra is one. Lenora is, oh my goodness. Practically everybody online had a blended family. Now, your family of origin, Cheryl, you are one too, right? Your family of origin is where you have your mother, father, and your brothers and sisters carry the blood of your parents. Roslyn, hey, my goodness, glad to see you, man. Yeah, you light up my heart there when I see you there now. Kenneth is also from a blended family. So the family of origin, where there's relations, is becoming quite extinct. Where we are in a family and it is only blood in that whole family. Blood of father and mother inside of the children of from the both parents. Patsy, you're late. You're very late, Patsy, but nice having you again. Good. All right. So there's where we have to take it. So let's look at some of the things that takes place in this blended family, in some blended families, and some of the things that we could look to make it work. Timothy said, so if I had married someone who was a child when I met her, is that classified as blended? Right, it is, because the woman would have had a child that is not yours, that child now becomes your family. And let me say, if you're in a relationship with somebody who has a child and you claim to love the person, you are loving and accepting both that spouse and their offspring. There is no extricating and excising the offspring from that. Neither should the woman nor the man claim that I don't want your children here. It just I don't see it unless you all tell me that that is a workable system. But it shouldn't be. All right. Lisa. Lisa is also from a blended family. Oh my goodness. So many of us from this blended family. So let's talk about some of these challenges in this blended family. So when you bring families together that were not originally the father, mother, brother, sister of the bloodline, and you bring separate people in, for those who believe in birth order, where a person's personality is developed somewhat based on the order of their birth. Not everybody believe it, so I'm not even going to try to throw it down your throat. The firstborn tends to have a certain authority heir. Not everybody. Remember, nothing we say in here is absolute. But the firstborn tends to try to give instructions to the younger ones because he or she knows I am the firstborn. Mommy say for you to stay inside because mommy and daddy had gone out. So mommy and daddy left who in charge? Most likely the mother or father will leave the firstborn in charge. And that firstborn would have developed a personality that says, I'm in charge and mommy and daddy have gone out and you are to stay inside. So that personality is evident in many firstborn. In fact, they said most presidents of the United States are firstborn. And in some cases were firstborn because some of them are now deceased. Most comedians, they say, are lastborn. They are the ones who take life light. Nothing is wrong with that. It's just a difference in the personality. They take life light. They joke about everything. Everybody caters to their concerns. If there's a sibling rivalry, a fight that breaks out between the children, who you think gets the licks? The older one. What you hit your brother for? What you hit your younger sister for? But without even asking questions. So the younger one start to become a little spoiled and have an air of expectation and where an enabling type of spirit, right? So you have that in the personality. So you have your firstborn, you have your lastborn with those two personalities. One with all, I'm in charge. The next one is you have to see about me, and so they take that kind of attitude. As a middle child, I'm a middle child, so sometimes the middle child feels as though I'm neither fish nor fowl. I'm neither here nor there. I never get anything new. You're the young child. Mine can't fit the young child. So the young child gets a new shoe, new dress. The older one gets a new one because he's larger. And guess what happened to the middle child? The hand me down. Because that one has outgrown it. So I am now at that size. So the middle child usually gets the hand me down. So we as little children just feel sometimes as though we are displaced, as though we really don't know what type of personality to have. So sometimes we create a little confusion in the home just to get some form of status. We challenge the older child sometimes in order to get some measure of authority, and we try to boss our way around them. I'm telling all you, I'm a middle child. But this I understand now. Amen, amen, amen. All right, good, 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 wonderful, nice. Charmaine, you're a middle child. I didn't know that. Cheryl, you too? Oh, well, I like it all. I like it all. Middle children. Middle children, um, we don't like to take orders. And we don't like to play with little children. We like to chart a course of our own. So we usually get ourselves into trouble because of that. Oh, she's a middle child to the same parents. All right, good. Kenneth is a last born of 18 children. Are you saying, Kenneth? Last born of 18 children? I think you have a typo, Kenneth. Just type that again because it showed that you are the last one of 18 and you used to get licks like rain. Well, by then your parents must be frustrated after 18 children. What do you expect, Kenneth? Sharon is a middle. Hey, Sharon is a middle child. Oh, hey, big up all the middle children there. Cheryl, I created the balance for the other 4 siblings. All right. Timothy is the beginning child. Okay. All right. So you see the birth order scheme. Now here's where the catch is. You take a family from a father who has, let's say, he has a 20-year-old child and a 16-year-old child. Right. And you know, so this is the firstborn, 20 years, 16 years. So you have a firstborn and a last child. Personality of I'm the firstborn, I'm in charge. Last child, you are 16, you take my orders. But the last child knows that you have to see about me. When parents not here, you make things for me. You take me out, you put me to bed, you lock up the house. I don't lock up house for 20-year-old. 20-year-old lock up house for 16 years, well, when they were small growing up. You go and sleep. So that's the scenario. I'm just trying to, this is not really the scientific thing. I'm just trying to make it as explainable as possible. So all of the people who have studied this thing, don't knock me. Don't knock me. Right? I'm just trying to make it understandable. So now you come into a family that the firstborn of the next family is 18 years old. And the last born of that family is 15 years old. So that second family, the firstborn operated as though I'm in charge at 18. But now you meet in a family, in a blended family, that the 20-year-old thinks he's in charge. You understand the kind of chaos we have in there already? As to who really gives orders to whom. So there is almost like a role reversal that takes place with these children in adjusting. And if you don't handle that carefully, you could have brothers and sisters from two different sides of the parents not liking each other and fighting each other. So you think about your own relationships and see sometimes where your sibling rivalry came from. Some of it might be from that. Sandra, you are a middle child, all right? So therefore, where Sandra? That's why me and Sandra getting along so well. I figure that is it. That become the second and the last. Okay. I am a firstborn, Patsy. All right, Handel, I am first and second. All right, first for one, second for the next. First of my father and second to my mother. All right. So, all right. So you see what Handel's situation is there. There has been a role reversal that is going to take place because he was firstborn and now he has a sister. And he's no longer firstborn. Almost like a dethronement, if you want to call it. When these are firstborn. All right. So that's one of the challenges that we have. The second thing that we have to be very, very careful about. If you have a 17-year-old boy and you have a 15-year-old girl, none of them carrying blood in their veins from each other, living together as one family, going to the shower, coming out with towel, romping and fighting and rolling in hay. Follow me now. Isn't it easier for attraction, emotions, and erotic feelings to be generated between those two? I just asking. It's just a question. Oh heavens! All don't fight me now. I just asking a question. Not for everybody, but who knows? No, somebody said that could happen even they have blood. That is right. Because there are people who have the blood. There are fathers who have the blood in their child and will still go with their own child, their own daughter. Well, that's a whole next story by itself. We're not going to go down there. But we're talking about the propensity, the easier relations as they begin to come into puberty for them to start liking each, because technically, blood, none of them carry blood for each other. It was two different children, but two different of the parents in the same home. Pamela is second of seven children. All right. Jacqueline is the first. That's why Jacqueline takes shots. Yep. Charmaine said that's chaotic. It is. Rosalind said, I have a big brother, but I am the first of four girls. All right, well, that's a whole next thing. Probably at some time we could talk about that birth order things separately, because she is not the first child, but she's the first of four. So she is a first in some strange way. She's the first, but she's the first of the next group of gender. Um, all right. So let's continue. Flowers in the attic. Cheryl says. Cheryl, you know thing, Cheryl. You know, according to a friend of mine, you know wickedness. Flowers in the attic kind of thing. So we're talking about that affair that could go down. That you have to be careful when you are blending your family. Could we leave those two children at home alone? What about if we don't have proper rooms to separate them and they have to sleep in the same room? You could have a whole family starting right in your room right there. I am not condemning blended family. I came from one and we did it quite successfully. We are just letting people know when you're getting into it, you got to know what you're getting into. But not only the brother and sister who do not have blood, you can find that the father whose stepchild is in the house, who has just started to turn 14, 15, and she is innocent in the home, changes normally because she knows we are all family, but doesn't understand that the man that her mother is now married to may have designs on her. You all getting me? Those are some of the challenges that you have. That could also happen even if it was his own child. But not only with the men, you could find, when I talk to a number of men, you know what many men say? Their first introduction to sex and sex act were by older women while they were boys. So don't run all ahead thinking it's only men doing this thing. Women are also doing it. And if some of you all out there honest, you will admit it. That some of those breakout times that you had came from a woman. All right, Timothy said, I was born in the 1985. My brother didn't come into until 2001. Wee. Lisa, is facts that relationship do start in this way without the parents knowing. Yep, I'm telling you. When you're playing Dolly House, hello. Some of all, let's be real. Talk to me now, man. You're playing Dolly House. Innocent as children. You're playing Dolly House. And hide and seek. Well, the modern day children don't know about these games, but I sure Lisa and some of these other people know about all of them games. Charmaine and all of them know about hide and seek and so on. You playing hide and seek, and somebody is looking for you all, and sometimes both of you all hide in the same cupboard. Oh heavens, man! All let me feel as though I crazy. I am telling you, you'll hide in the same cupboard. You close the door. The place pitch dark, but you are inside of there with a half brother or half sister or a step brother or step sister. Cupboard closed. Your person outside of the counting down. Ready or not? Here I'm coming. You hearing all of that? But you are in close proximity, feeling skin and hearing the breath and actually smelling the breath of the person on you, because you all are close in this close place. And they'll say real stories. And they'll let me tell you, If we, the older ones, tell some stories, all will know that things ain't as innocent as they look. Eh? And probably this is why the older ones have some things to tell you young people. Because there are some mistakes that people have made. There are some things that went down that we could warn you about. Yeah, Patsy, you laugh your head off. Um, yeah. Hey, Joanne, Bennett, Benjamin, you're coming on late. I have to start taxing those late people. Share the live, people. Share the live. Tonight we're being real. We're being real with some real stuff that going on. Trinidad and Tobago has a high incest rate. There are a number of places that have a high incest rate, and we wonder why. Could it be because of the proliferation of blended families? Could it be? Lisa said lots of men are molested by older women long ago because the conversation of sex was a taboo. Right. That's right. And we have our focus group with men, and men start to open up. I was alarmed. How many men said adult women, while they were boys, introduced them to either sex or the sex act, including their teachers, female teachers. But they never said anything because they confused it with machismo. Hey, a young and they like me. They did not recognize that was also sexual harassment and sexual abuse. It's now that they are big and adult, they're now going through it and realize, but I was really sexually harassed. Because I was 13, 14, 15, 17 and robust. Or to talk to me now, talk to me. Well, lady. All right. The answer counter in. I'm not too sure what the answer in counter in with, but all right, we're going to counter in. Monica. Monica, you're coming on late, Monica. All right, lots of men are molested. All right, yes, we read that one already. All right, people. So you understand what I'm be talking about with this blended family. I hope that we have time to. We have only touched on one, We have not touched on all the others. So we're talking about how the parent, the mother or the father, could take a kind of a lean, an admiration. They're tuned on by this stepson or this half child in the family. I don't like the word half, but you understand what I mean. All right, let's go to another one, a second one, and then we'll take a break and come back. But I hope you all are you all enjoying it. If you're enjoying it, just press the hearts and likes and let me see now. I want to make sure that we catching everybody. Yeah, just press those hearts and let me see and let me know that all are with me. Yeah, you're getting value from it. Nice. Thank you. Thank you very much. I seen it. I seen plenty going up there now. Nice. Then I know all you with me. Yes, Joy. Yes, Shami. Thank you. So the next one that I want to go to now is this one. Where there's conflict in the family when it comes to chores. Now I know all you will be able to identify with me now. You are the half brother. You are the stepchild. But when it comes to the distribution of chores, you feel as though you are the Cinderella. You feel as though you are the black sheep because they're giving you harder work. The parent that is not yours, giving you harder work. And the parent that is not yours, well, it is your parent now because the family is blended, but you understand what I mean. The parent that was not your original parent. When it comes to not only chores, but distribution of discipline, you may have gotten more licks than your brother or sister for the same parent who is beating you. A lie? Am I lying, people? All tell me if I'm lying. All right. Patsy says, you know it is wrong when they tell you, don't tell anybody. Absolutely. Kenneth said there are women who can be classified as sexual predators to young men, which is seldom highlighted. You all right? Mm-hmm. Jacqueline says, facts. I knew of incidents of young men took their lives after relations with their teachers and older women. That's right. That is right. Whitney Turner, you're late, boy. Yeah. All right. Let me see what Andel's saying. You are in a sensitive zone, Mike. Yes, I know that. I know that. But you know, sometimes we have to bring some things out to light. But we have to address the issues. A lot of men are damaged having been introduced to early by an adult relative to sex or sexual activity. Yep, that is right. And we ignore that. Some of these boys that are overcharged because they rev the engine of the boy while the engine was not yet warm. Yep. Also the girls. Some of those overcharged girls and undercharged girls because sometimes we go too high or too low. As far as you're late, hey, you all are late people, boy. Joy said she got good licks from her stepsister. Ah, not only from the parents. Thank you for raising that, Joy. The children fight because they are fighting for attention of the parents, and this one is taking away the attention of my father or my mother, and you are not my child, my mother's father's child. I'll whip you. We fight. Facts abused by the other parents regarding chores. Yes, Lenora, thanks. Timothy said, could that be classified as victimization? Hmm. I'm not too sure which one you're referring to. Whenever you're all posting, you need to put the context because remember now, Facebook is streaming a couple of seconds after I've spoken something. So I may have gone on to something else. I'm not really sure which one you're referring to. Jalia said, I knew a girl who used to complain to her teacher about having to do all the chores before coming to school, and if she didn't do them, her stepmother would beat her. Mm-hmm. What I'm trying to do here is give people a chance to recognize not you alone have been inside of this. So people have been dealing with some of these issues for a long time. We can't solve your issues on this social media. One of the things that we could do is recommend to you to get counseling. And if you so wish, you can call 868-688-5363. So right now is going to be a good time for us to take the break. Let me tell you that there's a poll question up, and I want you to answer the poll question, fix it up there, and so on. When we come back, I'm going to give you some more issues in the blended families, and I want to be able to take some time to tell you some of the things that we need to do to make it right, how you could be able to make it right. Because not to say that it can't work, it can work, but we need to identify what does not. Let's go for a break. We'll be right back. I'm Michael Short. Share the live and ask somebody to join us this evening. Hey, if you are having difficulty in your marriage or in your relationship and you need someone to speak with privately and confidentially, then call me, Michael Stewart. We can do face to face or virtually any part of the world. If your relationship is worth saving, call 868 688 5363 or go to my website www.michaeletstewart.com. Don't wait until it's too late. Get counseling. All right, you'll see the flyer on the screen, and this flyer, you need to leave the flyer up. Yes, it's for a singles discussion we are having. It's really targeting the members of the Churches of Christ, those who are single, widowed, divorced, or what have you, you're unmarried, but you really want to get into connection, whether or not you're looking for a relationship or not, but you're looking to connect with other single people, which is quite understandable. We're going to have a discussion to roll out how we are going to do some of those things, both on Zoom and face to face. Probably visiting different islands in the Caribbean, going on tours. There's now a Caribbean cruise that's taking place in the Caribbean. Well, of course, in the Caribbean, where the boat is moving from island to island. We should be able to get some young people to go on some of those cruises and meet others, and just expand or bandwidth. Because when you are on in a congregation or on an island, you might not find somebody in your own congregation or on your own island, but that doesn't mean that there isn't somebody out there for you. It might be somebody in another island. So if the fish is not on that side of the boat, cast your net on the other side. That's my philosophy. All right. So if you wish to do that, you need to hit me up on 868-688-5363. That is 868. It is going to be on your screen anyway. So even after, it's going to be scrolling on the screen. 688-5363. And name the program, because some people keep saying that they want to register for the program. But there are a number of programs sometimes that I'm running. And in this case, there are two programs running almost back to back for different audience target. So we want you to be able to identify which one. All right. So that is the one for singles. It's called Simply Single. All right. Next, we also have on one of our program last week, Ronald and Lisa David fired up at the chimney, and people wanted to discuss so much on sex. We already have people registering for it and they've filled out the form. There's a form that you fill out to register for it. But on the 24th, we will be having no holds barred discussion. Of course, if you know Lisa and Ronald, the no holds barred mean that they'll speak plainly, but they are not going to be vulgar with it. You don't have to be vulgar in order to be plain, but they will go into almost any aspect. I watch them go into the whole issue of anal sex and so on, and they would be able to tell you from their perspective, and some of the things they say is their opinion. You don't have to necessarily take it, but this is they'll give you their best information that they have on it. It promises to be a wonderful, eye-opening discussion with adults. We need you to register, and we are going to ask you to be able to use that Zoom link only for yourself. Do not give it to somebody else, because we do not want an underage child to be on it, because we respect the fact that somebody is underage and we do not want them exposed to things. This is why we took it off of Facebook and having it now on Zoom. If you do wish, you can send me a note on 868-688-5363. You'll see screening on your screen, and we are going to send you the form for you to fill out to register. So on. All right. Love you all. Hope that we will get you on for that. All right. Let's see now what's going on Facebook. Denison McIntyre said, my family grew together. Most of the homes around that time had both parents. Denison, tell me how old you are. Wow. That has to be a really old family. Yeah. That's the family type that I would want to recommend, where father, mother, and children are all from blood. The original. Now, not every time something like that could happen. A parent could be deceased, remarry, and remarry somebody with their own children. So don't think that it is wrong. I don't want us to go away with that. But I'm saying that the ideal for stability, my respectful view, father, mother. Charmy said, me too, my father, mother, first set of children didn't go with us. They visited. All right. All right. Lyndon says, same here. I figure he might be referring to Charmaine's comment. Charmaine said, I watched a video last week where a woman gave up the child she had at 16. She met him when he was 25. They courted. and then got married and had 2 children. In talking about their lives and question asked and answered, she found out it is her son. Father, come check. You kind of stumped me there a little while, Charmaine, so I'm going to try to catch back my balance and take off down the runway. Cheryl says that the tea no yard I did. That carried over to my, I guess she meant she had to do many of the hard work. That carried over to her single life, and when she got married, she struggled badly because I live on a small farm. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Denison say he think Denison, you think I'm older than you are? Yeah, I guess so. Um, that most likely is going to be true. My mother and father was married, had 4 children, says Jacqueline. He died, and then she had 3 more. So I have 3 half siblings. Right. Lyndon, first set of children, same mother and father. All right. Okay, I understand now. Right. Timothy is just a shock with Charmaine's bit of story that she shared there. All right. So let's keep our eyes on the time. Let's get back here now. So we talk about the birth order and having to blend it and people having to change roles as to how they operate. Then we talked about the discipline in the family and the chores, the distribution of the chores, that it may not be equitable. It may be that as a father, if I have a stepchild and the stepchild does something wrong, has an infraction, I may discipline that child more sternly, shout at the child. I may come across hated to the child. And when my child do something wrong, I may come across as though I'm really pacifying the child. I understand that the child is a child and I would be more lenient towards the child, etc. Right? And we give the child that is not ours the harder chores, etc. Then there is, let's take this other aspect of it. Um, the the communication that takes place between the actual children in the home of the parents, especially. I'll give you a real one. I went home. I was at the home of somebody, and they were talking about how this child is so disruptive. And as a counselor, I'm very intrigued as to why you'll have a family and this one child is disruptive and the others seem to be compliant. And here I looked around because most time the evidence is there. You don't have to get it from the people because they are going to say things that make it sound rational. And here's what I saw. On the walls of the home, there are pictures of the family. The disruptive child is in none of those pictures. That was my clue. So now I asked them, I told them what I noticed. How come this child is not in the picture? And they did not notice that they never took out a picture with that child. But father, mother, and the other 2 children are in the picture. So here's what happened. This disruptive child was born before they got married by one of the parents. Then they got married. The child is part of the family, and then they have 2 children who are from both parents. So technically, this is our family. This one is a hang me on. And they did not recognize because probably subconsciously or unconsciously, whichever word you want to use, they were they more or less disconnected that child from the family. So whenever they're going out, they went out with the other two, rationalizing it because they are younger. So this one is older, so he can stay home. But that is interpreted by him to be disconnected. So his misbehavior is a reaction to him having a disconnect into that family. Why? He was not blended in, he was left out. That's what often happens. You all getting me? And that's why we end up talking about black sheep. And I wonder how many of us who came up in blended families feel as though we never did fit in. We were more or less a third wheel. We felt as though people were just tolerating us. When they laughed with the others. When they joked with the others. When they bought gifts for special days, you could see the gift that the one that does not feel part of may have been given a token gift, but the others were given a gift that showed intimacy and shows thought. Hello, talk to me now. Charmin said he felt left out. Absolutely. Lyndon, it's really hard for me to find a picture of me when I was young. Aha, from birth to about 19 years old. You see how simple those things are? And children grow up with these. You heard what Lyndon said? Those are things that we never understood. So when we get into a marriage, when a person like that gets into a marriage and a child grows up in the same situation like what I just illustrated there, and they get into their own marriage, you ask yourself, why this person have all of these issues? So yes, Lyndon, thank you very much. Patsy said he's looking for attention. One of my sisters, Kenneth, said he's 3 months older than me. Well, you know, that ain't a real a sister of origin. For the sister to be 3 months older, not 3 years older, 3 months older, somebody was having hanky panky, either the mother or the father, Kenneth. Right? My father was a busy man, in and out. Unfortunately. Have you heard? Just between us, you know, I hear. I don't want to talk too loud. I want to tell you that I hear sometimes you have women in the hospital, pregnant, giving birth, on the same ward with another woman giving birth for the same man. I say, nobody. That is between we. But it must be rumors, it must be not true. So you have people sometimes born days apart. Kenneth said 3 months apart, but you have people born days apart. And it have people I hear born on the same day. Yeah. I just buying, selling it as I buy it. Don't tell nobody. Yeah. All right. And they'll say we should have a next part of this. Yeah. Because it has so many angles of it. So many angles. We only have 6 more minutes left back on this here. Who are you going to spend money on to go to university? If one is working for the money or working for more money than the next, this is the next part of going on to this blended thing. Eh? One is working for more money for the next. I have a child. I have the best wishes for that child. But I'm married to a woman who also has a child. And that child will give me little worries in this house, you know, he does figure them in charge of me and the thing as well. So I'll get away with that one. But I have my child who's a loving child. And I have to send one away to study, and I can't sponsor both, who do you think I will spend the money on? Only tell me. Only tell me. Just write it and tell me. Yeah? I said I had two great uncles who had females making children same time. See? I tell all of that. I didn't lie. Who do you think I will spend the money on? Most likely. I have to be a very fair man to spend it on that child that giving me thunder, even though the child brighter. That child might be the brighter child and it might be the one with more potential and so on. But it's not my child. I think we might have to take okay, so we're going to continue this. I'll take Handel's advice. We'll do this part 2 next week because we have next week and then we're going to have that free frank and fair sex discussion on the 24th. So we're going to do part 2 because we have to now talk about that whole aspect of who am I leaving my house to? Who are we going to leave the inheritance for? Is 6 children, 3 for each side, or 4 for one side and 3 for the next? No, that is 7. All right. Well, this is not a maths class, people. I know some of you school teachers worked that out already. That maths didn't maths. All right. So we're going to have to leave inheritance, but we can't leave inheritance for all. How are we doing that? Yeah. So Cheryl said, my own, that is what most likely is going to take place, Cheryl. Thank you. Um, Jalea Charles said, the well behaved and your child. Yeah. And that said, it's critical to be impartial. It must be an investment in the family. That is where the issue has to be, Handel. Go to the head of the class. That is why we have to teach people and parents to do their work as parents dispassionately. But that is a rare commodity. Yep. Joel said, what if you decide to spend the money on the stepchild? How would your own child feel? Powerful, Joel. That's right. So you're caught between a rock and a hard place. Yeah, we're gonna have to do this. All right, so we're going to continue it next week because um we have to deal with all those issues. All right, so I will just take the comments that people saying because we only have 2 more minutes left. It doesn't make sense. I give another one. And then we're going to have to bring the curtains down. Just remember, on the 11th we have the singles program, and on the 24th, free and frank sex talk. It's on Zoom only. It is not on Facebook. That one is on Zoom only, and the singles one is on Zoom only. Those two things we need to talk privately. Now, if, however, some of the things that we raise here for people, and people have some issues, and they are going through some tough time, we don't want you to leave and don't find a resource. You can call me 868-688-5363. We do private confidential counseling. 868-688-5363. Call me. Don't stay there suffering. Don't there going through your issues. There are some issues that might be affecting you as an adult and in your marriage, in your relationships, that came from way back, the way you were brought up in some of these blended families. We also have to talk about some solutions that we could look at it. We'll do that next week. But you might be in one now as a young person listening that you may need the help. Let us help you. Timothy said he's going to be here next week. Nice. Good. I hope all of you are going, all those going to be up back, send us up some heart. Real talk, Kenneth said. Tough assignment. Yes, says Pamela. All right. In which family structure did you grow up? Biological parent and or siblings, or step parents and siblings? Let's see what the result says. Where can I find that? Where is it? I'm not seeing the video. And the telephone number, the Mr. Sydney Jones has it up. All right, so let's see what it says. Biological parents, 74% of people grew up in their biological, with their biological brothers and sisters. Woo! That is good. Step parents and step children, 26%. All right. Then we're not as bad as it is in the United States and in some of the first world countries. So you see, being third world ain't so bad after all. Yeah. Um, what is Charmaine saying? There is a fire somewhere. There's a fire where some seem to get burned and is taken to the hospital. Apparently, there's a fire. All right, so people, Denison McIntyre is asking for some prayers for some fire that is taking place. We're really sorry to hear about that, especially in this guava season, people having to lose property and so on. So let's take that seriously, people, as we go. Well, probably what we could do is just do the prayer right now, just as we go. I hope Sydney would allow me just a few minutes to just do that. Father in heaven, we come before you for the neighbors of Denison as they go through a situation of fire. We pray to God that you are going to preserve lives. We pray, Father, that you are going to restore the family what they have lost in this fire. And we pray to God that the fire would not spread to discommode other persons in the area. We pray to God that the people in the community will come to their assistance and the support system would kick in to be able to lend a hand to them at this time. In Christ's name I pray. Amen. Thank you very much. This is Mike at Night, and we look forward to seeing you next week, Thursday, for the continuation of Blended Families Part 2. I'm Michael Stewart. Good evening now, and we thank Sydney Jones for doing an excellent job to keep us online. All of you great people, make sure you come with a friend next week. Let's double the attendance on the Zoom and on the, not on the Zoom, but on the Facebook for next week. God bless you all. Have a good evening. Hey, if you are having difficulty in your marriage or in your relationship and you need someone to speak with privately and confidentially, then call me, Michael Stewart. We can do face-to-face or virtually any part of the world. If your relationship is worth saving, call 868-688-5363 or go to my website www.michaeletstewart.com. Don't wait until it's too late. Get counseling.